You can your wife's still in the house? Oh, we're recording now? Okay. Okay, ready to roll?
Wait. Ready? Are we ready? We're not ready? Who are we waiting for? Anybody? Where's Y?
I always leave the meeting back.
Text it.
Yeah, see? What the hell is still in your house?
Abba, please keep your arms down, Abba. It's disgusting.
Oh,
Aren't you hairy underarms?
hell, muted.
Abba, there's kids on, Abba.
Yeah,
There you go.
By the way, YouTube, it asks if it's kid-friendly, and I wrote no.
The what?
On YouTube, it asks if it's kid-friendly.
Oh, now
I
it's
wrote
not.
no.
Yeah. All right. Ready?
Hold on. Wait a minute. See, how come I need to change your name?
I don't believe the food. I don't believe
Rename. CY. Enter. Yes. Hold on. Close. TY. Unmute. I can see you are good to go.
All right. There's cholent here if anybody wants. Cholent to kishka. Yeah. Anyways, okay. Chazor, Daf Mem. So we said making a hefsek after the bracha on bread, meaning if you're allowed to say pass the salt, feed the animals, etc. That you're supposed to have salt at the table. Then we said how to properly use the bathroom, which I did not go into if anybody chapped, since there were two ladies sitting there. I was not marich in the bathroom Gemara. So I hope everybody understood it properly. Okay.
That's why I came to
Yeah. If Dylan needs a further clarification, I'll hand it over to Abba or the parrots to explain. Okay. Then we said to drink water after drinking. You should have water, and after eating, you should have salt, which we said halacha l'maisa. Rama says our food has salt in it, and our drinks have water. Then we said drink a lot of water with your food. And then a whole list of different foods that are healthy, but not if you have it too often, like mustard and what was the other thing? Cholent's healthy always. Yeah. Then we said why Rabbi Yehuda says that specific vegetables get different brachos. And then we said Hashem can make a vessel that's full even fuller. Meaning, if you're full of Torah, then you could have more Torah, right? But it doesn't work like that by humans. Once something's full, it's full, right? Brachos on vegetables. Then the Mishna says the different brachos on vegetables and fruits. And then we said shahakal works for all brachos. Then the Gemara on that says the main part of a tree is really from the ground. Therefore, if you make butter priyadam on a fruit, you are yaitza. And then we had three opinions of what the Eitzah Das was. Either it was wheat, grapes, or what was the other one? Wheat,
figs.
Grapes, figs. Thank you. Right? And then fruits are defined by them growing by themselves every year. Right? The difference between fruits and vegetables is fruits grow themselves. Vegetables have to be planted. That was Amud Aleph.
All
Yeah.
vegetables? Nothing is.
Yeah, they may grow themselves if you leave them there because they're seeds. But it's yeah.
Is tomato a vegetable?
Oh, here we go. It's a big hock if
So
tomatoes
it's
are
not a
vegetables.
vegetable.
Okay.
Not,
Okay, there's a big hock.
it doesn't
if
have a
tomatoes
great
are-
H. That's
Yeah. Making brachas in your own language. That's on the
According
page.
to the science, I think tomatoes are a fruit.
I think so.
That's what I'm saying.
I think so.
So why did it
What?
Because
it's
it's not
on
that
the ground
has to do
and
with the
it's,
branch. It has nothing to do with it.
Making a bracha without Hashem's name. Then we had a Mishnah bracha of shahakal. No bracha on something that's cursed. Order of brachos if you have many types of foods, which we're going to discuss now. And then the Gemara said why mushrooms and truffles are shahakal, because they really get their sustenance from the air, not from the ground, even though they grow in the ground. And then we had that hard Gemara at the end, which we glossed over. Definition of noivlis, what type of foods that was. Okay, so Mem Beis Amud Mem Aleph Amud Mem Aleph Amud Aleph. Yeah, we should be able to get this done relatively fast, but it's really, really, really important Gemaras in tonight's daf. Yeah. What? Daf and a half. Blot and a half. Okay. How you lefana minim harvard, right? So we said in the Mishnah, you have many different types of foods in front of you, so it's a machlokes in the Mishnah, right? Whether you go with what you like, which was what the Chachamim said, or Rabbi Yehuda said you go with the 7 species come first. Yeah. Amar Ula, machlokes b'chosei and Shabbos. The whole machlokes is when the brachos are equal, meaning they have the same brachos. Right? He just texted the tomatoes are whatever. Now flashed off. So okay. Amar Ula, machlokes b'chosei and Shabbos. That's only when the brachos are the equal, meaning you're having an apple and an orange. Right? Right, exactly. You eyeing all the pictures of all the Tu B'Shvat platters. You Reb Chaim Kanievsky's man, you think you turned into a rebbe, right?
Was advertisement for the bananas, no?
There were enough fruits on his table, probably more food than he ate in his whole life.
Chaim
Yes.
Yeah, so what was that
Yeah,
about?
but anyway, so what we're saying is that the whole machlokes is when the brachos are equal. So let's say you had like on Tu B'Shvat, so you had all different brachos of eights, right? So then you have a machlokes, which one should you make the bracha on first, right? The Rabbi Yehuda savar min shiva adif. Rabbi Yehuda says you do it the shiva minim first. Rabbanan savar min chaviv adif, and the Rabbanan say that it's whatever you like comes better.
And Shoshana with the apple coming before.
That is the big issue, right?
You have to put the shiva minim off the table.
Oh, so now what do you do, Rosh Hashanah? Let's finish the Gemara first, and then we'll say it, right? The Rabbi Yehuda savar min shiva adif. The Rabbi Yehuda says shiva minim is better, which is the way we paskin. And Rabbanan say min chaviv adif, whatever you like is better. But if they're different brachos, everybody holds you make a bracha on one, and then you make a bracha on the other one. Meaning one bracha is not going to cover both of them, right? You have to do some sort of order. We'll see what that means. Meisvei. So the Gemara is asking a kasha. If you have in front of you radishes and olives, you make a bracha on the radishes and you pater the zayis. So what do you mean? You see, it is one. They're two different brachas, right? Tznain is a hadama and a radish. A radish is hadama and a zayis is ha'etz.
Oh, for the evidence, you would say. Okay.
No, we're not. No, yeah, but that's Rashi's going to get into that. But again, we just got finished saying that if they're two different brachas, so you have to make two separate brachas, right? It's not a matter of which one you. Again, we're saying the machlokes is when you have the same bracha, which type of food you make the bracha on first. But if there are different brachas, then you have to make a bracha on each one, right? And here we're saying that there's two things in front of you that are different brachas, and you only make a bracha on the radish and not on the olives, right? So you see, it's only one bracha. So and the Gemara is thinking now. So which way would you make the bracha? That would be the machlokes between Rabbi Yehuda and the Chacham. If it goes with what you like first or with the seven minim. The Gemara says no. We're talking about where it was a mixture, and the tznain was the main thing. So basically, it was like a radish salad that happens to have a couple of olives in it. So then you make the bracha on the radish, and you don't make a bracha on the olives, right? Yes. If that's the case, then what about the sefer? Rabbi Yehuda min shiva. Right? You make a bracha on the olive because the olive's from one of the seven. So you see that it's not just a mixture, because then he would hold that you make a bracha just on the radishes. Right? So the Gemara says, Rabbi Yehuda does Rabbi Yehuda not hold what we learned in the Mishna? Kolshu ikar ve'imay tefela. Anything, if you have the ikar food and you have the not ikar food together, you make a bracha on the ikar and it patters the tafel, meaning anytime you have a mixture like the fruit soup, we discussed this fruit soup, cholent and all that. What bracha you make on cholent, right? So you always go with what the ikar is, not with the tafel, right? So we just got finished saying that it's a mixture of radishes and olives, and the main thing is radishes. So why is Rabbi Yehuda saying you make a bracha on the olives, right? You should be, if the ikar was the radishes, like the Gemara said, so then right. But that's what he's saying. But the bottom line is, it could be more chashuv. But if the radishes of the ikar dish, then he should hold it. You should make it on the radish. What? Well, he holds that you go with the shiva minim first, but it shouldn't make a difference. Again, if it's a mixture, it shouldn't make a difference, right? If you say yes, he disagrees and he holds that you don't make a bracha on the ikar, you make a bracha on the seven minim first. And if you say the Rabbi Yehuda doesn't hold of this rule of ikar and tafel, if the zayis is coming because of the radish, then you make a bracha on the radish, and it doesn't. You don't, and it patters the zayis, right? So basically, we don't understand how to get Rabbi Yehuda, how to understand Rabbi Yehuda here, right? So Gemara says,
What, it's using for taste or for design?
Yes, does Rabbi Yehuda seems to be going with the klal of ikar and tafel, that you make the bracha with whatever is the main part of the dish. Yet he says that you should, if you have a mixture of olives and radishes, you should make a bracha on the olive because it's one of the shivas aminim. So how do you justify all
All these
this?
salads
Not justify. How do you rectify all
all
this?
these salads have pomegranate seeds in them. He would make a bracha on the pomegranate
According
seeds.
to that, but the Gemara is going to change, and according to the Havamina, we're thinking that he would say yes, but it's a stira. Correct. Correct. Right. So that's very hard. It's very hard to figure out how to make a bracha on these things. Anyway, so let's see the maskana. Right? Really, we're talking about where the radishes is the main part, and the olives are just there as a support, or whatever you want to say. And Rabbi Yehuda and the Rabbanon are having a machlokes with something else. They're having a machlokes with something else. And there's something missing from the Mishna. And this is how you have to say it. Now let's follow here. It's not complicated, but it's a little bit, just got to follow along. If you have in front of you a radish and an olive, you make a bracha on the radish, and you're going to pot the zayis. When does that apply, that the radish, the bracha on the radish, covers the olive? That's when the radish is the main thing. But if the radish is not the ikr, then everybody says you have to make two separate brachas, right? You make a bracha on one, and then you go back and make a bracha on another. And when two different types of foods that the bracha is the same, you make a bracha on whichever one you want. But the Rabbi Yehuda says no, you don't make on whichever one you want. You make it on the olive. Because the zayis is one of the 7 species from Eretz Yisrael, so that's what Rabbi Yehuda holds. Again, so the maskonas advarim is if it's ikar and tafel, according to all opinions, if you go with the ikar. So if your cholent is mostly beans, well, then we said the rule also that if it's mezonos, then that automatically gets takes precedence, mezonos, right? So cholent, most cholents have barley. If you could see the barley, so then those are you're gonna make mezonos on there. But let's say in a fruit salad that has hadama and ha'etz in it, so you have to figure out which one is the ikar part of the salad. You could have all sorts of stuff. So the basic way to figure out is what is the main part of the salad, and that's what you make the bracha on. Right?
I feel like salads many times there's a lot of tuffles. There's no thicker.
Correct. So that's a little bit of an issue. The best thing to do then is to separate it. Like Naftali said, you separate it.
Have a bagel first.
No, you could have a bagel first. That's one way. Our Priceless already said that. Or what you do is you separate the vegetables and the fruits and eat them totally separate, and then you would. But then we have just for the first one, just for that, and then it covers everything.
But does it go by whoever's taste it is?
One tomato.
Does it go what?
Does it go by what you like? I like tomato.
Then when you make it to order, so if it's shivas aminim, so then we pass on like Rabbi Yehuda that you should make one of the shivas aminim first. If you don't have shivas aminim, then it goes with what you like, right?
Is picking through any of that stuff on Shabbos Baira?
If you would take the good from the bad for immediate use, then it wouldn't be butter.
That's all.
Then you
Is that personal preference?
What?
Is that personal preference? What's good and bad?
Personal preference, yes.
I had a shiloh this week with one of my guys one of my teenagers that I deal with.
Yeah.
If I like tomatoes and you don't like tomatoes, could you take tomatoes out and give it to me?
Yes, I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. When I was learning the sugyas, I didn't have clarity on it, but I probably didn't work too hard to find the answer either. But
I don't like it. I give it to him.
Right. Me like a shliach.
Or
It's better if you don't like it.
The carrot off the fish. I give it the
Right. Meaning you like it, he doesn't like it, or the other way around.
Well, carrot wouldn't be as much of an issue because that's more clear.
Anyway, so that's basically that. But there is also an order of brachos, like you make Adama comes before Shahakol, that you do also, unless you really want the opposite. Yeah? Naftali look a little tired tonight.
Yeah. No.
Okay. Yeah, so that's second one. Pligibar of Amivar of Yitzchak Nafka. Chadam Machlaikis B'Shavir Hussein Shabbos. Now we're still in the middle of the whole memory here. So, so Pligibar of Amivar of Yitzchak Nafka, they have a Machlaikis Chadam Machlaikis B'Shavir Hussein Shabbos. One says that the Machlaikis is when their brachos are the same. The Yehuda Sover Min Shiva Adif or Rabbanan Savi Min Chaviv Adif. right? So Yehuda holds that the one Shivas Minim comes first, and the Rabbanan say whatever you like comes first. But where their brachos are not equal, you make a bracha on one, and then you go back and make a bracha on the other one. Even where their brachos are not equal, nami machloikis, it's also machloikis. Okay? So then the Gemara says, so the mandamar that says that when the brachos are equal, so then everything makes sense. But the mandamar that says that they have a machloikis even when the brachos are not equal, pligi. So by my pligi, what are they arguing about? Meaning, in which order do you do the brachos? Right. So it's saying that you got to make the brachos are not equal. They're having a disagreement. So what's the disagreement? Right. So Amar Rav Yirmiyah Yolahaktim. Right. It's pretty pashut. Right. The brachos is which one to go first. Amar Rav Yosef Item Rav Yitzchak Kol hamuktam b'pasuk zeh muktam b'bracha. Anything that comes first in the passuk comes first for brachos too. Shenemar, it says in the passuk, Eretz, Chita, right? So Chita is one, Sa'ira is barley, Gefen, Te'ena, Rimoin, then Eretz, Zeis, Shemen, Udvash, right? So the 7 species are in there. So what he's saying,
The order is like this, huh?
we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that on my base. But the order, so you have to make the brachos in the order that it says in the pasuk, right? So wheat comes first, then barley, then grapes, then figs, pomegranates, olives, and then figs. Yeah, I'm sorry, dates. Figs, potatoes, figs. Yeah, well, yeah. So that's what they're saying. That would be the machlokes. Well, pliga the Rav Chanan, and this he disagrees with Rav Chanan. Rav Chanan, kol pasuk kulu l'shiur and nemra. This pasuk is not coming to tell you the order of which you eat the fruits. It's coming to tell you different measurements. Okay, Chita is coming to tell you the Tanan hanichnas abeis hamanuga. If somebody goes into a house that has tzaras in it, so if you go into a house that the house has tzaras, you're also going to become tummy from tzaras. So, but it's only if you're holding the kalim. If you're holding the kalim, you're going to immediately have tzaras or get the tumah. But if you're not, if it's on you, then not. Now, if it's on you, you have to be in there for a certain amount of time, which we're going to say is the amount of time that it takes to eat some wheat, a piece of wheat. Right?
What's on you?
The clothing. Your clothing will not
okay.
become tummy unless you go into it with a certain amount of time. Let's see, right? The Tanana Nichlas is based on Manuga. Somebody goes into a house that has tzaras v'kelev akseifov in his clothing or his utensils are on his shoulders with sandalav v'tavos of yadav, and he's carrying his shoes and his rings. Hu v'hein tamein. He and those utensils are tummy immediately because he was holding them. Miyad. So hu v'hein tamein miyad. They're tummy immediately. But if he's wearing his clothing, unlike Abba, right? The sandalav beraglov and he's wearing his sandals and his rings are on his fingers. Who tame miyad? He becomes tame immediately. The clothing does not become tame until he's in the house for the amount of time that it takes to eat a piece of bread made out of wheat. And that's what the Gemara says. Yes. Yeah, so pas chitin, v'loy pas sa'irin. It has to be wheat bread and not sa'irin bread because wheat bread is easier to eat, right? And mesa v'oichlin belifton, and it has to be also where he's leaning and he's eating it with other foods too, meaning that because if you don't have other foods, it's gonna take a different amount of time to eat the bread, right? So that's why it says chita in the Torah to teach you that din that of going into the house that's tummy. Fine. Sa'ira, what is Sa'ira coming to teach you? The Tran, etzem kisa'ira, matame b'maga, uvamasa. A bone the size of a barley, a kernel of barley, is what makes you tummy if you touch it and if you carry it. Matame ba'oil, but it will not make something tummy ba'oil, meaning if it's under the same roof as something else. Geffen, what's the shear of geffen?
Well, we had this concept already twice. One was under the tree, no, wasn't it? Where the guy walks under.
Yeah, that's true. That's too much oil. Yeah, very good.
And the other one was with the field, no? Same concept?
The peel?
No, with the field, where the pieces, the bones.
Oh, the field, where the bone is ground up in the field. Yeah, very good.
Zoltan was in, what's it called? No, in Auschwitz.
Yeah, there you go.
Zoltan in the Auschwitz then?
What?
That was when Zoltan was in Auschwitz.
Yeah, they found a lot of bone. Yeah, they found. Yeah, in the lake. Yeah, they found by Auschwitz in the lake. They found a lot of bones. Bones in it. They wanted to bury it. Whatever it is. Yeah. Okay, good. Geffen, right? What's Geffen grapes? They revius yayin. Geffen, the reason is to tell you that you have to have a revius of a lug for yayin. A lenozir, for a nozir, meaning that's what a nozir can't have, right? Anything less than that, he's he's allowed to have, but he's not going to be chayiv on it. Ta'ena, what's a fig for? Kigroigris, Leitzah Shabbos. What's the minimum amount you're chayiv on for carrying on Shabbos? Is a groigris, which is a dried fig. Remind, what's a remind for? Gitanan, kol kli balabatim, kalam balabatim, right? Shiuron kirimoinim. The shear is like a remind, meaning a kli, if it gets broken, let's say kli is tummy and it gets broken, so it loses its status of tumah. That's only if there's no hole in it, right? Once you get a hole in it, so then it becomes, it becomes tar. It loses its tumah status, right? So how big does the hole have to be? So for balabatim, the size of a riman, and if it's less than a riman, then they'll be able to use it for larger things, and it won't spill out. I don't know. That's just the way that balabatim, meaning the Rashi says that they're more concerned for their kalim, right? Yeah, eretz zeis shemen. What's the eretz of olives and oil? Amar Rav Yosef Rav Chanina eretz shekol shiureh kizeisim, and land that all its measurements are for our olives. Kol shiureh al gadaytich, all the shiurim are zayis. V'yikahanaf da'amorim. Didn't we just say that there's revius, there's a remain, there's groigris? They're not all the shiurim or olives are kizayis. Ella eretz sheroiv shiureh kizeisim. What it means, it's a land that most of the shiurim that take place for halacha are of the size of a zayis. Dvash, kikasevas agasta v'yom kippurim. The honey, which doesn't mean honey, it means a date. It's like a thick kasevis for Yom Kippur. That's how much you have to eat to be chayiv on Yom Kippur, right? Because anything less than that, the shear of eating on Yom Kippur is kikasevis. Yeah, the idach. Okay, good. So now that's the machlokes. So again, we had one Manda Amar who says that the order of the brachos goes based on the passuk. The other Manda Amar says that no, it doesn't. You can do whatever order you want. The pasuk's coming to teach you all these different shiurim. So Gemara says v'idach. What's the other Manda Amar? How does he know the shiurim? V'idach hani shiurim behedya hanaf shiurim behedya miksivi. Does it say it beferish in the pasuk that these things are coming to teach you shiurim? It doesn't say that. It's the Rabbanon. Rabbanan decided this shiurim, and they use this passuk as a crutch, right? As a smach. They're leaning on this passuk. But that's not what the ikar passuk is coming for. The ikar passuk is coming to tell you the order of the fruits, right? Which that's what we paskin. You got to do the order of the fruits. Yeah. So then, of course, that's the issue on Rosh Hashanah by night, like you were saying. Rosh Hashanah by night, the minig of Klal Yisrael is to make a bracha on the apple, right? We're making a bunch of Bayra Priya eitzes. And the minig seems to make it on an apple, but you can, if you have rima in there, and you have figs and dates and all that stuff, that should come before the apple, right? So that's a big total.
You put it off the table, no?
So some take it off the table. The problem is you take it off the table, so then your bracha may not necessarily go on it, even though you do have it in mind.
Yeah, but doesn't the Gemara say if you know it's coming, then it's
correct? So if you know it's coming, so then that works. So really taking it away from the table is one thing, or you can cover it. Some say you can cover it. But or you can just not make it on the apple, make it the way in the halacha, which was first. I mean, you're not making it on chita. I guess hamotzi.
We went through this in a shir.
Yeah.
What, Hamotzi is supposed to make it?
Hamotzi is on wheat, no?
Yeah, but
You wash first.
Yeah, but the fruit's not part of the meal, right?
No, in chanami. But now we're going to get to why you make bracha on the fruit. That's coming up right now. It's very negay, this whole sugi. Okay, right? But anyway, so that's that hak with the Rosh Hashanah by night. Fine. Rav Chisda v'Hamnuna vayter. Rav Chisda v'Hamnuna have a yasi v'sudasa. Rav Chisda v'Hamnuna was sitting at a suda. Aisel kamayo timri u'rimayni. They brought in front of them dates and pomegranates. Shokar Rav Hamnuna baruch hatamri bereisha. And he took the tamar and he made a bracha on it first. Amalei Rav Chisda le'svira le'mar la'adam Rav Yosef v'tem Rav Yitzchak kol hamuktam pasuk zeh kaidim lebracha. Whatever it says earlier in the pasuk comes first, so the remind comes before the date. This is the second to the word aretz, and this is the fifth to the word aretz. Halavai that we should have feet made out of metal that we can follow you around and listen to whatever it is that you say. Meaning he said, wow, that's a great word. I wish I could follow you around to make sure that I learn it. Right. No, it was not being sarcastic. Feet of metal that you wouldn't get tired. Right? Now, what he means is if you turn back to Amud Aleph to the passuk, right? The passuk's about 10, 12 lines. So there's the Eretz, it says twice in the passuk. Right? It says Eretz chita sa'ira gefen u'ta'ena v'rimain. Eretz zeis shemen udvash. So what he's saying, and this is the way we paskin, is Zayis and Shemen are number 1 and number 2. Zay Shemen and Dvash is 1 and 2 to the word Eretz. Right? So Chita and Saira come first because that's 1 and 2 to the first Eretz. But what he's saying is Zay Shemen and Dvash come before Geffen, Te'ena, and Rimain because they're second.
Right next to Eretz.
It's true.
Rimain is right next to Eretz also.
It's before it.
Yeah, but it's right
No, it's Eretz, a land of. So he's saying that what? Why? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Clearly, he's learning that the whatever's closer to the word Eretz is more chashuv, even though it comes later on in the passuk. Yeah, that's the way it
It's
goes.
not more chashuv. It's just more chashuv than something later. It's not more chashuv than chita.
No, chita and saira are first because that's
Further
next.
than
Yes,
the first.
yeah. So I actually had a guy who sent me a picture of a whole chart from Tu B'Shvat of the order of the brachos. You know, this, and that, and each one had a little school of what the school is for each one of these shivas haminim. So then he texts me. The guy, that's a guy, girl, I don't know what it was. Well, it texted me that if I didn't do it, there you go. Now they did. What do you got? A kind bar. We're gonna get to the kind bar in a minute. What bracha? It's a big shver. What bracha?
Don't need it.
Yeah.
Why is this so
I don't know. Yeah,
I
he's got a
remember
million.
you
It's got a
things
million
for a
things
long
in there.
Your father was
And none of it tastes
granola bars.
Granola bars, my father did not eat because he
Right.
didn't know what bracha.
Right.
was.
I remember.
Yeah.
He didn't mind it.
It's not really the bracha rishon on the granola bar. It's the bracha achroina. But we're gonna get to that in a minute. But anyways, so
Sweetheart,
this
what
guy
didn't your
texted
father
me-
eat?
What?
What didn't your father eat?
Granola bars. He didn't know what the whole bracha on the.
Yaakov.
What?
I always wash before.
The From brand granola bar is right Adama.
Part of your meal.
The which brand?
The From granola bar brand
Yeah,
right Adama.
because it's made out of junk. That's why. So that's what I think.
Oh, the Jewish stuff?
Yeah, it's like ground up or whatever. But anyways, getting back to this, so the guy texts me like, if I didn't do it in the right order, do I still get the schoolis? So I texted back, hello, what do you want? You want the biggest schools to keep the halacha. You didn't keep the halacha. You got to say it in the right order. That's the biggest school. You worried about your schools? You didn't do the order right. That's true too. But that's a different story. Okay, weiter, yeah. Itmar. Now this is also a next very important, and it comes up a lot. Itmar, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so no, I'm sorry. Before we go weiter, just as a hakdama to this next Gemara, look at the top toises. They brought in front of them dates and pomegranates, right? And Tosis says, pas. They were not meant to accompany the pas to be part of the meal, because the imkain, if so, havalu pas ikr, then it's part of the bread meal. And then the tafel, but tanam mevarach ala ikr, part is the tafel. Then you make only bracha on Hamotzi, and you pater the tafel.
So classic Rosh Hashanah.
Well, right. That's why we make a bracha 8 on the fruit on Rosh Hashanah, which we're about to learn now.
That's
in
part of the
Seder.
meal because it's just not. We don't look at it as part of the meal in general.
Correct.
That's what he's saying. He's not saying because in general it's not considered part.
Yes.
Of the meal.
Yeah, fruits are generally not part of the meal.
Fruit are not considered part, which is why the whole shallow dessert comes.
Correct. So we're going to get to that right now. So Itmar.
Apricot
No, so that's fine. It really depends if it's part of the meal.
Nobody eats fruit as part of a meal.
Well, now the question is, now did it change? So Itmar, yeah. So the Gemara says Itmar. Have you lifneim te'enim va'novim?
My shver makes a bracha on a salad. I don't agree with him.
Which type of salad?
A regular, like an Israeli salad, if they serve like by the fish.
A vegetable salad. He makes a bracha.
I don't know. He makes a bracha on clothing too, and on rainbows and everything.
All right. It's not always such a mile to make a bracha if it's going to be levatala. I'm not saying anything against him, you know what I mean? But
Not publicly, anyway.
yeah, yeah. But anyway, okay. Let's see the sugya. Itmar, if you name to Einim V'Anovim B'Seichel Suda. So somebody brought in front of them figs and grapes in middle of the Suda, right? Which is exactly what we do by Rosh Hashanah. So Amar Rav Huna Te'unim Bracha Lifneim Ve'ein Te'unim Bracha Lachreim. They need a bracha before. They don't need a bracha afterwards. Right? V'chein Amar Rav Nachman Te'unim Bracha Lifneim Ve'ein Te'unim Bracha Lachreim. They don't need a bracha before. They need a bracha before, and they don't need a bracha afterwards because benching will cover it. Right? But Rav Sheshes Amar Te'unim Bracha Bein Lifneim Bein Lachreim. They need a bracha before, and they need a bracha afterwards. She'ein lecha davar shetam bracha lefanav ve'ein tam bracha la'acharav. There is nothing that requires a bracha before it and not a bracha afterwards. Ela pas haba b'kisnin bavad, except for pas haba b'kisnin, which is a little strange because pas haba b'kisnin is basically cake and all that type of thing, right? There's a few way machlokes what exactly pas haba b'kisnin is, right? So he's saying pas haba b'kisnin is the only thing that you make a bracha before it and you don't make any bracha after. Now, what do you mean you don't make a bracha after? You make a bar nefashos, pashtus. Just remember we said a couple of blot ago that's not called making a bracha. Now, parenthetically, there is a big machlokes between Rashi and Tosfos here, and it's very negeya, especially to the guy sitting on the Amtrak now eating. Okay, this is very negeya to you. Yes, there you go. Case in point, right there. Yeah, Yeshua Marchuk is on an Amtrak eating a shaila mamish. Look at him. If he's not on your page, yes, there you go. He's full now. Question is what bracha achron is he making? Why? Because Rashi says, what's a passuk b'kisnin? It's got a little bit of flour, whatever, some wheat flour, but not enough to make an alamichya on it. But it's mixed together with nuts and seeds and all sorts of stuff. How about a kind bar? Maybe.
That's possible. I thought Danish was possible because
Danish there's different types, but the point is that Rashi says the reason why it's called. Can't hear you. Somebody just say something? No? Okay.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Marchuk burped.
Oh, that was? Yeah. So anyway, so Rashi is saying that if you only have a little bit of wheat and just a bunch of other ingredients, you don't have to make the bar and the fashas. And Tosfos disagrees and says, no, if you're making a bracha on it, then you have to make an alamichya. Right? If you're already making mezonos on it, you have to make an alamichya. Meaning this comes up a lot because sometimes people have, I think granola, you have, I don't know if it's granola bars, but you have these bars that mixed in with fruits and all sorts of stuff. The wheat itself, you may not have enough to make alamichya, but together with all the other stuff, you would have. So does that join in there to make an alamichya, or should you make a bar in the fashas?
Is the wheat over there as adhesive?
No, yeah, we have to learn that sugya, but
Your whole life you hear it.
yeah. Yes, the possible is
Does it make any difference that I can actually see all the pieces of? Does it make any difference that you can see the nuts like very clearly and such?
No, it doesn't make a difference because you don't have enough. You don't have enough of one type that would suffice a bracha, right? So I'm saying we're not okay. It's we got to get going here, but it's a big issue. It does come up. Meaning you have a little bit of bread and then you have a lot of other stuff. So now what's the bracha achrona that you have to make?
Croutons in a salad.
Croutons in a salad, right? All these type of things. But anyway, what?
Once you chayv al-micha patis bar and fashas.
What do you mean it patis it? Not if you need to make bar and fashas, but you can't make. Question is, according to Rashi, you can't make alamichya because you don't have enough of alamichya in the mixture.
That's it. If you're eating apples and grapes, and you have to make if you eat enough grapes, you eat enough apples.
Then you got to make both.
The al-michi doesn't pater the apples.
Why should it? Well, that's a different question. That's a different question.
Who? The al-8 pater the apples.
Somebody just posted. They thought Liner was tired. Yeah. Okay, Liner's going back to being tired. We'll discuss it afterwards.
For rice, you don't make a bracha, right? Or when he says like
that's a Gemara, right? The
no,
Gemara.
I'm saying, is he possibly that you don't
No, he
need
means bar and fashas. He means bar and fashas. Correct. Right.
No, he doesn't tie that. He just assumes he means.
Correct. But anyway, so that's what we're saying here. So we have so far a machlokes whether you brought fruits. If you brought fruits in the middle of your meal, how you make a bracha, right? This whole thing is a machlokes. They disagree with Reb Chia. Reb Chia pas beteres kol minei meichel, pas paters all foods, but yayin parter kol minei mashkim, and yayin paters all types of liquids, right?
At a fancy fair, sometimes in between courses, they bring you an aperitif.
Right.
like sorbet or something.
So then you have to
Palate.
know if it's
Palate.
not, if it doesn't come with part of the bread, then it's a big issue.
Yain pot is also bracha v'shayna,
Yain of what?
meaning it's when it says a panthers.
Yeah.
Kol minei mashkin.
Both ways.
So you make a bar.
You make a bar priya governed by a
You don't
kiddush.
make a,
Correct. You don't make any bracha on shahakal. You don't make shahakal on your drinks. Yes.
How can I make that burn pushes every week?
What? No, because I imagine people eating herring and stuff like that, right? But yes, yayin paters all. People are not aware of this. By a kiddush, it's interesting because maybe the place can have an issue by kiddush because by kiddush and shul, the olam is not drinking wine. So maybe the guy making kiddush for sure doesn't make a bracha bar priya shahakal. Question is everybody else, right? If everybody drinks some of the wine, then fine, right? But
you can drink your own wine. You don't.
you
have to drink
can,
his wine.
and that's true. No, you don't have to drink his wine, right? So I think I have to double check, but I think the place can say you still would not make a shahakal.
Unless you make kiddush on scotch, and then
Well, that's a different thing. Anyways, so that's what we're saying. And yayin, so yayin paters all drinks, and pas paters all Michael. You also have to be careful by your chasana if you don't wash, and you take some wine, then don't make a bracha on the soda, right? Yeah. Anyway, so now here's the maskana. Anything that comes in a suda, meaning you wash for bread, anything that you eat that becomes part of the suda, like the chicken and the soup and the side dishes and all that, that's fine. They don't require bracha, not before, not after. But if it's not coming because of the suda, and you're having it in the suda, it needs a bracha before. Doesn't need a bracha before. Now let's stop right there, even though it's mid-sentence, right? Candies is for sure considered not machos suda. So if they bring candies, chocolates to the table, that's certainly something that's not eaten with bread. It's a snack type thing, and you definitely have to make a bracha shahakal on it. If you do it before benching.
Really? You put out dessert and whole nuts platter?
we're getting to dessert.
Yes, because that's not
Yeah.
right. So meaning the shiloh. So the big shiloh in the paiskim, is dessert.
Ice
It
cream.
is dessert. Because dessert you don't normally eat with bread, right? Dessert you don't normally eat with bread. The only thing is, if it's considered part of the meal, then it doesn't have to necessarily be eaten with bread as long as it's considered part of your meal. So way
Except for
back,
your shviger.
what?
Your shviger used to eat it with bread.
Correct. So we'll get to that in a second. We'll get to that in a second. My mother-in-law used to.
How about beef jerky?
We didn't go to lachar suda means after you benched.
After you benched.
Yes.
When Rashi says a lapis is a pass, is he saying literally or
No, that's the thing. Depends. No, it's
Rashi,
figurative.
lapis
It's
is
figurative.
not to be eaten with
We're
pass?
saying no. We're saying it's come machmas the suda. I'll tell you exactly. A guy was hakami a chinik this week. Yeah, he eats for breakfast bread, right, and a bowl of cereal. So does he make a bracha on the bowl of cereal? Meaning, bowl of cereal has l'chayra no shayfus. It has nothing to do with bread, right? So l'chayra, you should have to make a bracha on it, right?
Why?
But because it has.
Okay,
no
what bracha do you
nothing to
make on a
with
bowl of cereal?
What?
What bracha do you make on a bowl of cereal?
What does that mean? It depends.
cereal.
Depends which type of cereal.
Saying isn't it a big machlokes whether you make two brachas or one bracha?
No, well, most places can
Big bowl
say
of
a
cereals,
bowl of
maybe.
cereal. You're making one bracha on the cereal, not on the milk.
Consider it tough.
Even if you drink the milk after, because of what we said, the ikar and the tuffle, right?
How about beef?
The bottom line is it's not part of the suda. It doesn't come together with bread. But lamaisa, what about oatmeal? Is oatmeal also you don't eat with bread? But lamaisa, since it's something that you normally eat during the suda, so then therefore I had to look into it a little bit because I wasn't sure. And it seems like the place can say that since you normally do have cereal as part of your nutritious breakfast, so and a lot of times nutritious breakfast comes with washing, so it's considered part of the meal. The shiloh is dessert.
What about beef jerky?
Beef jerky, no, that's meat. That's part of a meal.
Even if it's dried out, you don't put it on a sandwich or anything like
I
that?
hear. That's a good point. I hear. Maybe if you don't ever eat it, but it's considered meat, so it's part of the suda, right?
Very negay apparently.
Ice cream.
The Moshe's question, not my question. Moshe's
Drinks, by the way, drinks also are considered part of the meal. Even alcoholic drinks and this, that. Not everybody eats alcoholic
Someone
drinks.
has a tea for
A
dessert.
tea you
But a
would
lot
not.
of people are very makbid to eat dessert. Even I'll have a
Now in
spoonful of dessert.
Now in America, dessert is mamish part of the meal. So then it becomes very doubtful whether you should make a bracha on dessert. That's why many people, the dafka bring some bench, and many bring candies to the tables, because candy is for sure not part of the meal. So you make a shahakal on the candy. Cake is different because it's a possible bekistan issue. So the question is, would you wash on them? Right. So then it gets. We'll discuss the possible.
Yaakov, didn't we learn last night or 2 nights ago that the Metzia can change? So like in Europe they didn't do it. So now, but in America we do this. It becomes part of the meal.
Correct. So now, yes. So now in Shulchan Aruch it says that even if the dessert you don't normally eat with bread, but the Shulchan Aruch brings, I forgot what siman it is, even though I looked it up right before this, and he says that if it's something that you're not sure, so if you actually take a piece of challah and eat it with the beginning of the dessert, then that for sure would make you potter from making brachos. Which, like my brother Yisrael over here pointed out, that when my mother-in-law, who grew up amongst many rabbis, ate fruit, she was makbid to take a piece of challah with the fruit.
That seems funny.
Right?
It's not something that you normally do.
It's correct, but since it's together with challah, eating it, and you eat. I try and do it too. I start my dessert with, depending on which type of dessert, with a piece of challah. It's a little gross if you're having a.
But why fruit? The fruit shouldn't be a shiloh. Fruit, but why fruit? I can understand like ice cream is a stuffing. But why fruit?
On the table.
No, that's a different thing. It's a different thing. What?
I understand that ice cream is a suffix, so they'll eat it with
no,
challah.
because the shiloh is fruit considered normal. So that's the thing. So in the Mishnah Brura, this is one of the big controversial things in Mishnah Brura. The Mishnah Brura says fruit salad, fruit soup, you do have to make a bracha on for dessert. And Remendel Zaks swore up and down that the Chavetz Chaim was chayzer from that psak in the Mishnah Brura, and he held that you don't have to. Which many poskim say, well, listen, we can't. We got to go with what the Mishnah Brura wrote in the Mishnah Brura. We can't go with Eidos that he changed his mind, right? So whatever, it's a big hak. So the best way to get around it is to, if it's shahakal dessert, then use shahakal. Mezonos dessert's already easier, and if you take a piece of chal in the beginning, so then you're really okay. All right, we got to get moving here. What? Fine. Okay, so then now we stopped mid-sentence. Now let's continue. La'achar asuda, if it's after the meal's over, now that's really a machlokes how to learn it. Does it mean after the suda, mean you're done eating and then you bring out more? Or does it mean after benching? I told you before, it's one way. It's really machlokes, Rashi Tosis. But la'achar asuda, tu'un bracha, bein lefnei and bein la'acharein, you can eat a bracha before and after. Yeah?
So if you stop and talk for an hour.
It's tough to know. It's tough to know. Yeah. Shalo is ben zayim b'nei ma'om l'dirich dvarim mipnei ma'om l'dvarim abayim machus asuda b'sayich asuda einam tu'un bracha loy lefnei v'loy la'acharein. So he says, how come things that come because of the suda, you don't need a bracha? Like that's what we do, right? Chicken and this and that. You don't make a bracha before and after. How come? So he says, Amalem hoyel pas paitartan, since the pas makes them potter. So that's why. Yeah, right. No, it doesn't. See, that's the thing. So people make a joke like, why don't you wash before you eat a granola bar, right? Bread is not normally eaten with a granola bar. Granola bar is not normally part of the meal. So washing on bread in order to pater, the granola bar is not going to work, right? It has to be something that would be eaten in a meal in order to do that. Then there's a Magen Avraham that says that wouldn't work anyways, to wash specifically to pater you up from some other thing. Magen Avraham says it doesn't work.
From Mahalach is a big problem.
Taisa said it works.
What?
Taisa said to do that?
Taisa was talking about with stuff from mezonos and all. This is trying to pater yourself from food that would not normally get.
They say we don't know what bracha to make.
What?
From menu. This guy menu is a problem because we eat bread with all the carbs.
Okay, so that's already I don't know. So then Gemara says, "Ihachi."
Can we still?
Naftali, go back to sleep. The island is busy with you on the thing.
Can we still use that change in Metzia? You know, what we eat for breakfast has changed over the years as well.
I believe that you can, at least on a Safik brachas level. I believe that you can, but it's tough. These are all big shilas. Yeah. So anyway, so Gemara asks, "Ihachi yayin nami nifterei," right? Nifterei pas. Yayin should also become part of a pas. So how come yayin gets its own bracha? Right? It should also become part of a pas. So we say shana yayin the garden bracha la'atzmai. Yayin has brachas by itself, meaning many times you make a bracha on wine for kiddush, for havdalah, for these type of things. It's independent of the bread, right? Meaning you don't need to drink wine. If you're not thirsty, you still have to drink wine by Kiddush, and you still have to drink wine by Avdallah, because it's chashiva. So therefore, wine is considered its own separate entity, and it gets its own bracha, and it doesn't go potter with the pasta. Yeah,
all wine during the meal, right?
it will potter all wine during the meal, yes, and all other drinks. Yeah. Rav Huna achal tlesa rifti. Okay, I need somebody with the art school exactly how to touch it. Rav Huna achal tlesa rifti bani tlasa b'kava v'loy baruch. He ate 13 cakes or pieces of bread, right? Well, it's not really bread. It was a pass above the kisnin, right? 3. It comes out that it's Naphtali's up and well, yeah. B'nei tlasa, yeah. B'kava v'loy baruch, yeah. So 13 cakes, each one made out of 3 and 3. So 13 times 3 times 3.
13 breads of
we got the account here.
3 to a cup.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it is, he ate a whole lot of mezonos. That's the
How
bottom
about
line.
24 eggs?
Yeah.
A third of a cob, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. So Ireland's losing their concentration over here. Anyway,
the art scroll says a cob holds 24 eggs. Thus, each kisnin bread had the volume of 8 eggs, with a total of 104 eggs volumes for the 13 breads.
There you go. Okay, so it's 104, equivalent to 104 eggs. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole lot of food, right?
That's a lot. Yeah,
he ate a whole lot of food, and he only made mezonos because it wasn't pure bread. It was a mixture. It was pasta baba
He ate a
kisnin.
whole pie pizza.
It would sound like more than a whole lot. Pie. We have some experience with that over here in this room, but yes. It was a story. We each ate a pie pizza.
You can finish this. Who won?
I won.
Yeah,
Anyway, so he ate a whole lot of. He ate a whole lot of pasta baba kisnin. So Amalei Rav Nachman ad kafna until you ade kafna, and meaning is this is not what we're talking about. I don't know how exactly touch the word kafna, right?
These were eaten to satisfy hunger.
This is right, meaning if you're doing it to do the meaning until now you're doing it for food. I mean you're doing it to eat, to satiate your
hunger.
Yeah, for your hunger. Anything, any amount that somebody else would eat that for a suda, then you have to make a bracha on it, meaning you need to make Hamotzi and Berachos Hamazon.
What's a normal person?
So you have to figure out what the average person would normally eat. And then like pizza is a different issue, but let's say Danishes. You have a bunch of Danishes for breakfast instead of washing because you're on the run. If the Danishes would be the equivalent of what a normal person would eat bread for breakfast, then you have to wash on the Danishes. Pashut halacha like that.
So, Yaakov, the Seasons Express started selling a croissant with an egg on cheese.
I don't see how you cannot wash on that. I think you have to wash on that. It's meant to replace bread. By the way, this is why the scam of the scams, the mezonos bread, total scam. The Chassidim and the Chassidish Paiskim.
Because we have apple juice.
The Chassidish Paiskim.
The Chassidim are very into it.
I've never seen one chassid wash.
I know because it's total amaratz.
The Chassidim are very into it. They do apple juice.
They ask if I care.
Chassidim are very into it. They use apple juice.
Even for pizza, they use apple juice.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's a real scam. The whole thing is a scam. It's not. Ask any passuk and they're going to say the bread. Even if they use apple juice, it's meant to replace bread. So if that's the case, it's for a meal, like the Gemara is saying here. If this is a normal meal, even if it was cake, even if you took chocolate cake and put pastrami in your chocolate cake instead of bread because you wanted to scam the system by not benching, you have to bench. You have to wash and you have to bench. It's pashut halacha like that. And kol shekain on fake bread. I don't know how exactly they get around it. It's really not. It's not simple at all. Maybe you could say that if you're eating it by itself without a meal, then maybe they would treat it like cake. But not when you're eating it for a meal. You're eating it for breakfast, lunch, or supper. Then you have to wash. I hate to sound like a zealot, but that's pashut the halacha.
What about according to what you're saying now? A wrap.
A wrap. If a wrap is for a meal, the question is a wrap even considered pas? Does it even look like?
That's what I'm asking.
So
you have
I don't know the answer to that, but most say it does look like pas, but Even if it's whatever. It's not pasha. It's not pasha the wraps.
Yaakov, in Williamsburg, there was a sign that said, on Motzei Shabbos, the bagels are all Hamotzi.
Yeah, I don't know.
The hefsher.
Something like that, because they say since you're eating it from a lava malka, so then it's a suda. I don't get that one either. I don't get it. Yeah. I know these guys big deal.
Hey, first of all, Marchuk's tired.
But it's true.
Like whenever I ask those chefs.
Bottom line is the Litvish are way from it in the Chassidim. That's the bottom line. Okay.
That's what this is about.
What?
I guess that's what this year is about.
I don't know about that, but okay. Anyways, weiter. Yeah, Rabbi Yehuda.
They mamish have nothing to go on.
0. The only thing they have to go on is that if you eat the bread in the middle of the day as a snack, this is only I think that I came up with. Yes, enochanami, if you take this piece of bread and instead of eating a Danish for a snack in the middle of the day, you eat this piece of bread, then maybe you could say, not everybody would agree to that, but then maybe you could find passuk that say that you would make
They must not be using that excuse because they're using apple juice.
That's fine.
Instead of water.
That's fine. What?
They must not be using that excuse that is just for a snack because they're trying to use apple juice instead of water. So it must be the process that they're making the bread, they're trying to circumvent the water.
I understand, but it doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference.
I always thought that it's all these sandwiches they're like called food to go. You're on the run, you're eating it while you're running, and you're not gonna pay a sud on it.
Right.
So that's why it's mezonos. Meaning it's made with apple juice. You're running with it. You're not sitting down and eating a meal. You're eating it in your car on your way to work. It's not called being kaveh suda.
Right.
All right, I think I'm going to start exercising my mute options.
All right, okay, let's go weiter, yeah? Well, you got a whole train ride, Marchuk. You got a whole train ride to go. You're almost home? You're almost there? 10 minutes? Okay, we got 10 minutes till the train pulls in. Wasn't you couldn't go tune in from Uber? Okay, weiter. Rav Yehuda have Osik Lebrei Beirav Yehuda Bar Chaviva. He was being Isaac for his son. We had this lashon a few times. It means he was making a wedding for his son. Isaac Kamaya Pasababa Kistin. They brought in front of him Pasababa Kistin, right? Mezonos cake. Ki also Shaminu to come Mavarchi Hamotzi. When he came and he heard them making Hamotzi, Amrlu, my tzitzi the kashamana. What's the tzitzi? Meaning Hamotzi. Tzi. You know, you hear the guy saying tzitzis, whatever. He was saying Hamotzi. So he says, what is this Hamotzi that I'm hearing? Dilma. Is it possible you're making hamotzi on cake? I'm saying cake just as possible of a kiss and in. Yes, the Tanya Ramuna Aimer Mishum Rav Yehuda possible of a kiss and allow hamotzi on possible of a kiss and we make hamotzi. V'amar Shmuel halacha Ramuna and Shmuel says Allah like Ramuna. So that's why even though it's cake, we're making hamotzi on it. Amar lahu ain't halacha Ramuna. The halacha is not like him. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Right? So we said that the halach is not like Rav Mina. These lachmaniyot, right, which clearly is not bread, but it's some sort of passuk of a kisnin. You can use it for an eruv, and you make hamotzi on them. So shanayasim the kavasud there is different because you're being kaveya seuda. But you're not being kaveya seuda. No, that's exactly what we just got finished saying. That when you're eating a small amount of passuk of a kisnin and it's not at a meal, so then you make mezonos. But if it's at a meal, even if it's a small amount, you do have to wash. That's the halach. It's right here, Beferish in the Gemara.
Right? Only one slice if you're eating it first, so they have to wash.
Yes. Rav Papa, then you have the pizza issue, which is a different issue than this. Rav Papa, Ikla, the Beir of Huna, Breder, Rav Nasan, Basa, the Gomer, Sudasayu, Aisu, Lakamau, Midi, Lamechel. Right? So they were eating a meal, and after they were done, so they came in front of them, they brought them something to eat. Shaka, Rav Papa, V'ka'achel, Rav Papa took it and ate. Amrilei, Lo Savar, Lamar, Gomar, Asa, Melechel. Does Mar not hold that once you finish eating, it's also to eat? Now, it doesn't mean that it's also to eat, meaning it's also to eat without a bracha. You got to make a bracha. It says only once you remove sila kitma, right? It's only once you remove everything, right? You remove the bread, but not. That's when it's also once you remove the bread. But since here the bread is still here, so we are still allowed to continue eating. Itma Rava. Well, that's one of the reasons, right? Itma Rava Rav Zera Iklu LeBeiresh Galusa. They went to the Beiresh Galusa, meaning the head of the Galus. Labasa the Sliku Taka Mikamau. After they removed their tables, right? Back then, everybody ate in their own little tables, right? So when they removed the tables with them, Shadrulahu Ristana, Mipe Reish Galusa, the Reish Galusa, they sent them some sort of food. Rava Achel, so Rava ate it, but Rav Zera Achel, Rav Zera didn't eat it. Samarle, Savar Lamar, Silik, Asam Malechel, doesn't Mar hold. Once you remove the table, so you've already showed that your meal's over. So now any food that comes, you have to make a bracha on it because you already finished eating. Meaning your past no longer protects you because you already finished eaing. Amarle, Savar Lamar, Silik, Asam Malechel, he told him, does Mar not hold that removing is eating? Amarle, Anan, Ataka de Reish Galusa, something. I'm relying on the table that's in front of Reish Galusa. Since we're eating in his house, even though our tables were removed, but since his table wasn't removed, so I'm leaning on him. So since he's still in the middle of his meal, so I'm also in the middle of the meal. Basically, what the halacha comes out is that once you announce to the table, let's say you announce to the table, okay, we're going to bench, or you ask the minim and then a guest comes in. What? Then a guest comes in and brings you nuts or cake or candy. You say, oh, let's eat some. You got to make a bracha.
If I get up and go to the couch, is a problem? Come back?
No, because that's just considered part of your meal. But once you announce and show that your intent is to no longer eat, so now your pattering you from everything is no longer valid, and therefore you have to make a new bracha. Yeah? Amar Rav, Haraga b'shemen, shemen ma'akvat. Right? So somebody who's ragil to smear oil on his hands, so then the oil will be ma'akiv, meaning if you started at the end of the meal, if you put, it's sort of like a minim achronim. You wash your hands with oil. So once you put the oil on your hands and now you want to eat more, then you have to make a bracha. That's what it means. It's ma'akiv. Amar of Ashiki Avina Beir of Kahana Amalan Kagoin Anon the Reglina of Mishka on us that we normally put this oil on us. So therefore, the oil is going to stop us, meaning we have to make new brachas. And the halachas are not like this. There are three immediate things. Take of the smicha shchita, immediately after leaning on the animal and doing vidui, then you have to shecht it. Take of the geula tefillah, immediately after saying Baruch Atah Hashem Gal Yisrael, like we learned a couple of weeks ago, you have to daven. And take of the netilas yadayim bracha, immediately after saying netilas yadayim, meaning netilas yadayim of Mayim Rishonim is Mayim Achronim. I'm sorry, is Birchas Hamotzi. Even though Allah is the same thing with Mayim Rishonim, which in 10 blocks from now the Gemara is going to say. Let's see if anybody remembers that. It's leaving out one, right? Meaning right after you wash your hands for bread, you should go make the Hamotzi. You shouldn't wait around, right? So the Gemara, that's a fourth one, but it doesn't say it's here. Correct. So Amar Abai Afanu never take of the Talmidei Chachamim bracha. Immediately after Talmidei Chachamim is bracha, which we also had before. Shenemar v'yivarcheni Hashem b'golalecha, Hashem bench me because of you. Or it's from here. Shenemar v'yivarch Hashem is based on Mitzri b'glal Yosef. Because of Yosef at Tzaddik, Hashem benched the Mitzrayim. Right? So you see that if you get involved with Talmidei Chachamim, then you will have bracha. Okay, that's enough for tonight.
I can see.
Yeah.
Just got to say one thing I found out today. The pizza shop by 7-Eleven, they have the pizza baker from Brooklyn Bake Oven Pizza. And he started making the Sicilian slices by cooking the dough first, and then he adds the sauce and the cheese. The last guy didn't do that. He baked it all together.
So what are you saying? So
I was told that that's worse. When they bake the bread first, and then they put the sauce and cheese on, for sure you have to wash. No hector to make it together as a pizza.
On his regular pizza, that's what he's doing?
No. On the Sicilian or the deep dish or any of the big fat
But Parrots, it's not fully cooked, is it?
He said he cooks it first, or else you'll never get a consistent dough. The old guy that I knew used to bake it all at once. I asked him. So that's no different than any regular pizza. But the new guy says he bakes the bread first and then puts on the sauce and cheese and rebakes it.
Interesting. I think we should all think Hamalach to Naftali Landau now, because he looks like he's about to fall asleep.
This is how I listen to the shir. What do you mean?
Yeah, but what do you do about a yarmulke?
Right here.
Ah.
You know, speaking of restaurants,
Parrots, what do you think? It was hair?
They need a whole count there.
Wait, you're speaking of restaurants. You heard about Chimichurri? They sold another location to another, like they did what's it called when they give the rights to somebody else? A franchise. He opens up another location.
Kosher one or something?
Yeah.
Where?
In like Hewlett or something, but it's not kosher. It's exactly the same restaurant.
By the mall, by Carl Place.
How could they tolerate that?
And when you call the main number, it lists both locations.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know the guy. I'll call him and ask him.
Yeah, do that.
I will.
And then figure out this Sicilian issue, all right?
Sicilian issue, I'm asking Tiago, what's the deal? I was told that they bake the bread.
It sounds like you'd have to wash. If it's baked, I don't know what measure, how far it has to be baked. But if it's going to be baked, then you would have to wash on that without a question.
In general, though, the Sicilian slice is a thicker dough. It's not
true, but that really shouldn't make a difference. If you hold that pizza is possible a kistin and it doesn't need to be washed, it shouldn't really make a difference how thick the dough is. Bottom line is most places nowadays hold that you have to wash on one slice. Because this whole heter of the same thing getting with the mezonos rolls, this whole heter of possible bekistin, that's if it's not meant to be eaten for a meal. If the normal way to eat this is for a meal, then you got to wash even on a fraction. So what the poskim time is that where Moshe said in the old days that pizza is a snack, that was the old days. Nowadays, with all the restaurants, most people are eating pizza for a meal, not for a snack. Therefore, you got to wash on even a fraction of a slice.
Does it make a difference if you're eating it as you're driving in the car? Or
it doesn't make a difference since the derech is to eat.
So that answers Paris's question.
What?
That answers Paris's question then. You have to wash regardless.
Paris's question wouldn't really make a difference. It's any pizza.
Right.
Yeah. All right, folks. Signing off. You off the train already?
It's muted.
No, watch it. See? Talk now.
I got I got all three Amudim.
You got what?
I got all three Amudim.
There you go.
A lot and a half.
All right.
Good job.
Have
It was
yourself
very
a safe
entertaining.
trip home.
It got me. Right?
Have yourself a safe trip home.
I mean.
Where are you coming from?
By the way, Uber has an emergency button.
What?
I think Uber has an emergency button in case you feel you're being attacked.
Yeah.
You know?
Call 911 while you're at it.
yes, they do. They have an emergency button.
What would
I
that?
forgot to stop recording. Whoops.
What does that mean?